Well, hello, Kickstarter. Happy spring from Cedar City. We're still getting snow every once in a while down here, but that's all right. That's just how March and April go for us. We'd like to start releasing these video updates every Tuesday and Thursday. These are going to be very informal, just little chats with us, usually with a fun little background on my television, because, well, we don't have very pretty scenes outside of our windows. But, we want to make these very informal. There isn't going to be a script, so you're going to get to know me a lot more. And, well, hopefully, with your comments, I'll get to know you guys, the backers, a little bit more. But because there's no script, well, you're going to get to learn how I ramble a little bit. Today we were wanting to talk about kind of the story that has led us to where we are. What brought about the ideas and the desire to create this epic worlds engine. The entire dev team has been gaming for years and years and years, separate, together. We're all friends now. But about 4 years ago, not quite, but almost 4 years ago, I was getting together with some of my buddies, and one of them was looking through some D&D 3rd edition, well, 3.5. And I had never played any of that before, and he was showing me some of the cool stuff, and I said, oh, that's cool, we should play a game sometime. He said, great, you should be the DM. I had never been a game master or dungeon master for any of the games before. I'd just kind of been a little player on the side, enjoying my character creation, playing up with the adventures, doing some fun stuff on the side. But this really got me interested in thinking, and so I put together this really fun world. I didn't really want to use all of the cookie-cutter stuff that was already there that anybody could pick up and play, all of the pre-made adventures. And so I wrote this really fun adventure that would explain how the characters were brought together, why they were kind of stuck together now, whether they liked it or not, and would introduce a recurring villain that would pop up in the next few adventures. However, when I took this story and I tried to plug it into the D&D D20 system, we ran into some problems. The villain that I had come up with, it was very hard to make him based on the rule structures that we had, and so I ended up having to fudge a lot of the rules and make my own abilities and new spells and things like that. And it turned out that some of these spells ended up not being as powerful as they should have been to invoke the proper level of fear. Some of them were far too powerful, and I ended up having to, in mid-combat, adjust their effects so that I didn't kill my party with something that hadn't been properly balanced. We started running into problems trying to get the story across, trying to get these things working, and so we kind of ended up abandoning that campaign, unfortunately. However, this got the initial group of the dev team together, and we started thinking, well, what kind of an engine do we want then? We were all into anime and manga at that point, and we're kind of wanting an epic feel to our battles like you would get in Japanese shonen style combats. So we started looking around at other systems. We went back to Shadowrun, tried out their 4th edition a little bit, which we hadn't ever done before. Wonderful stuff. But the engine was very resource intensive, again, so it made it hard to transfer that engine over to the story that we were still wanting to tell and still wanting to play through. Next, we tried out the Fate system with the Dresden Files RPG. Really fun system. We were all fans of the books. But the engine seems too soft for us. It felt like all it was just kind of a community choose-your-own-adventure, that there wasn't really an element of obstacles to it. It was kind of well, the ending is guaranteed, really the only difference is going to be who ends up being the star of the scene. We really liked a lot of the features to it, but in the end it ended up not being what we were looking for either. We started looking at other things, some of the narrative game engines similar to Fate, or some of the more complex ones, and after looking around for a while, we decided we really needed to make our own, that what we were looking for just wasn't out there. We found that we really liked the creative end of things that you can get from a narrative, that you can take these brilliant ideas straight from your mind and put it right onto the paper. But we found that most of the narrative systems were so rules-light that even if you could come up with these cool characters, you ended up feeling more like a book signing author group than really gamers trying to get through an obstacle. So we took some ideas from the narrative group, took some ideas from the classical systems like D&D and Shadowrun and such, and we built our own world. We built our own rules structure. The first 2 iterations of it were awful. They based themselves on a tiers system, very resource intensive, made it very hard to balance things out. One class would be extremely powerful while the other would be really weak. To give you an example, the first game that we played with our very first iteration of this system, we decided we'd just grab a generic shonen, you know, some school kids with weapons face off against some zombies. And first action in it was one of the characters stepped forward and splattered a bad guy against the wall. Completely. He didn't have any action points left for the rest of that gaming session. It was very unbalanced. So we broke that system, pulled it apart, grabbed what we thought we liked, put it back together with a new system using adrenaline points and tiers, and it was really fun in concept. But once again, we tried out the system and it just didn't work. The resource was too heavy, the statistics were hard to deal with, and so we stepped back completely and we said, you know what? Neither of these last 2 systems have worked at all for us. What we really want is something that feels epic, that's fast and easy to play. And so we threw away everything that we'd done before, and we started really studying what made something feel epic, and what made a game system work easily and work well and work quickly. And we started to build this system that is now known as the Epic Worlds engine. We stumbled into some really amazingly beautiful mechanics that are quick and easy to learn, and can be applied to hundreds of situations. We were able to put together the traits system that allows for unique characters that still are part of a structured rules environment. And we started working with it and enjoying it so much that we've decided to bring it to you here on Kickstarter. We're very grateful for everything that has pushed us so far ahead in this Kickstarter already, and we're really excited to bring you more of the content, more of the amazing things that we've put together. We have some wonderful rules for unique trait crafting, for vehicle creation. That's one that we'll actually be doing an update about later. We just liked how in some engines you could spend a day working through the calculus equations just to build your rowboat. And in some engines, yeah, they had cars and motorcycles and things like that listed, and they had all of the descriptive text explaining this is how fast it can go, but they didn't really have a good engine for using those vehicles. It was kind of just a, well, once you're on your motorcycle, we'll just assume that you've escaped. And so we kind of delved into this idea of making the vehicles something more. And we've really accomplished it. Vehicles are amazing, and I can't wait to tell you more about that. Character creation is really fun. If you haven't had a chance, pick up the demo and the demo extra content creator, and have fun making a new world and a new character. There's so many limitless possibilities on what you can do. We've really had a good time putting this together. We really hope that you enjoy it, and we thank you as the community for, well, helping this become what it really can be.